What if the most terrifying secret of the Bible wasn't the giants who walked the earth, but what happened to their souls after the flood? For millennia, the church has silenced this truth, locking it away in forbidden texts and burned manuscripts. But tonight you step into the hidden archives. You uncover what they never wanted you to know. The fate of the Nephilim souls rewrites heaven, hell, and your own eternity. This is the story they tried to erase. You are about to cross a line. For 2,000 years, the church has guarded a secret so dangerous it could unravel the very fabric of Christian doctrine. What happened to the Nephilim souls after the flood killed them? The Bible is silentor, so they say. But tonight, you will hear the whispers from forbidden scrolls. Picture this: ancient scribes copying texts by candlelight, knowing that possession of these words could mean exile or death. The first clue is in Genesis 6:4, but you've never heard it preached in full. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. Afterward? After the flood? How is that possible? The answer lies in a book that was banned, burned, and buried. The Book of Enoch. It speaks of the Watchers, their angelic rebellion, and the birth of the giants. But it also whispers of what became of their souls when the waters rose. Imagine the weight of that knowledge. You stand at the edge of a revelation that theologians feared. They buried the evidence. They hid the truth. Because if the souls of the Nephilim survived, if they lingered, then everything about the afterlife, about judgment, about grace, is called into question. This isn't just academic, this is personal. Your soul aches for the whole story, doesn't it? That ache is why you're here. That hunger is your compass. And as you listen, you're not just learning history, you're recovering a memory the world tried to forget. If something in you recognizes this truth and you want more revelations like this, leave a comment and stay with this story until the end. Your reaction tells me to keep opening these doors for you. Now, hold on, because what you're about to discover next will shatter everything you thought you knew about salvation and damnation. To understand the fate of their souls, you must first witness their world. Picture the antediluvian earther realm of raw, unchecked beauty, skies untouched by pollution, lands fertile beyond imagination. But beneath that paradise, a corruption brews. The Book of Enoch opens with a scene that will haunt you. 200 watchers, angelic beings of immense power, descend onto Mount Hermon. They swear an oath. They take human wives, and from these unions the Nephilim are born. Giants, heroes of old, men of renown, but also monsters. They devour the resources of the earth. They spill blood without remorse. They are hybrid creatures, part divine, part mortal, and their very existence tears at the fabric of creation. You can almost hear their footsteps shaking the ground. You can feel the terror of the humans who witnessed them. This was a world where the boundary between heaven and earth was thin, too thin, and the Watchers, in their rebellion, taught humanity secrets, sorcery, warfare, forbidden arts. The earth cried out, the cosmos groaned, and God saw the wickedness. But here's what they don't tell you. The Nephilim weren't just physical abominations. Their souls were a paradox, not fully angelic, not fully human, a spiritual anomaly. Where could such souls go after death? The veil between worlds is thin, and as the flood approaches, a question hangs in the air. What happens to souls that don't fit the categories? Stay with me. The rupture is coming, and it will change everything. Before the waters rose, there was an invisible architecture, a cosmic order that governed all existence. Heaven above, earth below, and the realms in between. The Watchers were meant to be guardians, observers, but they crossed a line. They breached the divine law, and by mingling with humanity, they created a crack in reality itself. The Nephilim were more than giants. They were living symbols of that breach. Their souls existed in a liminal space, trapped between two worlds. Enoch describes how these hybrid beings had spirits that could not ascend to heaven nor rest in Sheol, the underworld of the dead. They were unsettled, restless, ghosts in the making. Imagine the cosmic stakes. If these souls were allowed to roam free after death, they could become poltergeists on a spiritual scale, haunting the earth, influencing the living, corrupting the afterlife. The divine order had to be restored. The flood wasn't just about washing away physical corruption, it was a spiritual reset, a surgical strike against a cosmic infection. But here's the mystery: killing the body doesn't annihilate the soul. So what did God do with them? The texts hint at a holding place, a prison, a realm prepared for such beings. You sense it, don't you? That the story is deeper than a simple destruction. The veil between worlds is thin, and as the rains begin, the fate of these souls is sealed in a way that will shock you. What happened next rewrites the map of the afterlife. The rupture comes with the sound of thunder and the crack of the firmament breaking open. 40 days and nights of deluge. The waters rise from below and pour from above. Chaos, screams, the end of a world. Picture the Nephilim in their final moments, these giants who once towered over mountains now struggling against the waves. Their strength means nothing, their divine heritage offers no salvation. They drown, every last one. But as their bodies sink into the abyss, their souls do not dissipate. Enoch reveals a terrifying truth. The spirits of the Nephilim survive. They are not destroyed. They are released. These disembodied entities, angry and confused, now roam the earth as evil spirits. They become the demons of legend, the unclean spirits that haunt the Gospels. This is the first bombshell. The flood didn't erase them, it transformed them. The church hid this because it complicates the narrative of a clean slate after the flood. It means that evil wasn't washed away, it was spiritualized. These Nephilim souls, now ghosts, are condemned to wander until the final judgment. They influence humanity, cause disease, incite violence. You're starting to see the cover-up, aren't you? Why this was suppressed. Because if demons are the souls of dead Nephilim, then the spiritual war isn't abstract, it's personal, historical, and rooted in that ancient catastrophe. But wait, there's more. Some texts say not all were condemned, some souls were imprisoned. The real shock is coming. After the waters recede, Noah steps onto the mud of a new world. Silence. Emptiness. But the silence is a lie. Because the souls of the Nephilim are still here. Enoch describes them as the spirits of the giants that afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, and wrestle on the earth. They are the hidden aftermath of the flood. While the Bible focuses on Noah's covenant, the apocryphal texts whisper of a spiritual infestation that persists. Imagine the horror. You survive the apocalypse, only to find that the ghosts of the giants are now your tormentors. These souls, without bodies, seek to inhabit, to possess, to corrupt. They are the explanation for the demonic activity that plagues humanity post-flood. But the church, in forming its canon, edited this out. Why? Because it introduces a tiered afterlife, a complex eschatology that challenges simple heaven-hell dichotomies. It suggests that some souls are trapped in an intermediate state, a purgatorial realm that official theology denied. You're uncovering layers of truth they buried. And here's where it gets personal. If these souls exist, then your spiritual battles might be connected to that ancient rebellion. The veil between worlds is thin. Right now, as you listen, you're piecing together a puzzle that changes how you pray, how you worship, how you see the unseen. But the evidence isn't just in ancient texts. Someone witnessed this. Someone wrote it down. And that testimony survived against all odds. The primary evidence stares at you from pages that were almost lost. The Book of Enoch, quoted in the New Testament by Jude, yet excluded from the Bible. Why? Because it answers the question you're asking. Enoch 15:8-12 reads, The spirits of the giants shall be called evil spirits upon the earth. Their dwelling shall be upon the earth. This is explicit. The souls of the Nephilim become demons. But there's more. The Book of Jubilees, another banned text, confirms it. The Dead Sea Scrolls preserve these words in fragile Hebrew, a direct line to the pre-Christian era. You're holding leaked documents from a divine trial. These texts were the testimony of Enoch, the man who walked with God and was taken to heaven. He saw the watchers judged, the Nephilim destroyed, and their souls sentenced. He reported back. And early Christians knew this. Early church fathers like Tertullian revered Enoch. But by the 4th century, at the Council of Laodicea, it was declared non-canonical, too dangerous, too revealing. They buried the evidence. But you, tonight, are resurrecting it. You're reading what priests were forbidden to preach. The souls are not silent. They scream from these scrolls, and this is just the beginning, because other texts, even more forbidden, describe where these souls are held, a place called Tartarus, a prison for angels. Are you ready to go deeper? The hidden testimony awaits. Beyond Enoch, there are whispers in other apocryphal book texts that were burned, hidden, or coded into legend. The Book of Giants, found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, fragments telling of the Nephilim's nightmares before the flood. They dream of their own destruction, of their souls being bound. The Testament of Solomon, an early Christian work, describes how Solomon used a ring to command demons, and they confess their origins as the spirits of the giants. This is corroborating evidence. Multiple witnesses from different times and communities, all pointing to the same truth. The Nephilim souls survived as demons. But the Church, in its consolidation of power, labeled these texts as heretical. Why? Because they decentralize spiritual authority. If every believer can access this knowledge, if the demonic is historical and specific, then the Church's role as mediator is threatened. They hid the truth to maintain control. Imagine the councils where bishops debated, their voices trembling as they voted to suppress Enoch. Imagine the monks who secretly copied these texts, risking excommunication. You are inheriting their courage. You are the keeper of a flame they passed down. The souls are not silent. And now, with modern scholarship, we can piece together their full testimony. But the most shocking part isn't the demons, it's what happens to them at the end of time. The final judgment. And it involves you. Don't go anywhere. The keepers of this truth are about to reveal themselves. Throughout history, there were always those who refused to let the truth die. The Essenes, who hid the Dead Sea Scrolls in caves. The Gnostics, who saw the Nephilim as part of a cosmic drama of light and darkness. Medieval mystics like Hildegard of Bingen, who wrote of hybrid spirits in her visions. Kabbalists in Judaism, who explored the realms of the Klippo, the shells of evil, linked to these ancient souls. They were the keepers. They preserved the forbidden knowledge through symbols, allegories, and secret manuscripts. They understood that the fate of the Nephilim souls was a key to understanding the entire spiritual ecosystem. You, listening now, are part of this lineage. Whether you realize it or not, your curiosity is a sign. You were made for this kind of hidden truth. The keepers passed the torch through centuries of persecution, through inquisitions and book burnings. They whispered in cloisters, wrote in codes, and prayed in secret. And their legacy survived. If you feel that you were made for this kind of hidden truth, write in the comments what most shook you so far, and share this video with one person who also hungers for more. Your voice helps this buried story reach the ones who need it. Now, as the modern era dawned, something miraculous happened. A discovery that would bring these whispers into the light of day. What scholars found will rewrite everything you thought you knew about the Bible. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd threw a stone into a cave near the Dead Sea, and heard the sound of breaking pottery. What he found would revolutionize biblical studies: the Dead Sea Scrolls. Among them, multiple copies of the Book of Enoch, preserved for 2 millennia. Suddenly, scholars had direct access to the pre-Christian Jewish texts that the early church knew. The evidence was no longer just theory, it was tangible. Then came the Nag Hammadi Library in 1945, with Gnostic gospels that spoke of archons and hybrid beings. Archaeology joined the fray. Giant skeletons reported worldwide, ancient megalithic structures attributed to giants in folklore. The puzzle pieces were falling into place. Academic conferences debated the implications. Theologians grappled with the challenge to traditional views. The church's suppression was exposed. You are living in the moment when the buried truth is erupting into the open. The souls are not silent. They speak through these discoveries. And what they say is this: the spiritual world is more complex, more ancient, and more interconnected with human history than you were taught. The Nephilim souls are not just a myth. They are a reality with ongoing consequences. This isn't just about the past, it's about now. About the demons you might be battling, the spiritual oppression you feel. The veil between worlds is thin, and with this knowledge you can see the threads connecting that ancient flood to your daily life. But the deeper truth is even more transformative. It's about your soul's journey. The deeper truth is theological dynamite. If the Nephilim souls became demons, what does that say about the nature of evil? It means evil has a history. It's not just abstract sin, it's the residue of a celestial rebellion. It means that demonic forces are, in a sense, the ghosts of a failed hybrid race, and this changes how you understand salvation. Christ's descent into hell, as mentioned in 1 Peter 3:19-20, takes on new meaning. Some church fathers taught that he preached to the spirits in prison, the spirits of those who disobeyed during the days of Noah. Could these be the Watchers or the Nephilim souls? The possibility is staggering. It suggests that even these rebellious beings might have a chance at redemption, or at least that their judgment is part of Christ's cosmic victory. This challenges the black and white afterlife the church often presented. It introduces layers of mercy and justice that were scrubbed from popular teaching. The church hid this because it complicates the narrative of heaven and hell. But the truth is more beautiful, more terrifying, and more just. Your soul, your humanity, is precious because you are not hybrid. You are made in God's image, not corrupted by angelic interbreeding. Yet you're engaged in a spiritual war against the echoes of that corruption. The veil between worlds is thin, and your choices matter in this cosmic drama. This isn't just ancient history, it's about you. Your calling is emerging from the shadows. Are you ready to hear it? Your calling is clear: to awaken to this hidden truth and live accordingly. You are not a passive observer. You are a participant in the spiritual legacy of the Nephilim souls. How? By recognizing the demonic influences in your life and world as rooted in that ancient rupture. By praying with new insight, binding spirits that may trace back to the giants. By studying the forbidden texts to deepen your faith, not weaken it. This knowledge is a weapon. It equips you for the battle Paul described in Ephesians 6:12 against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. You now know some of these forces have names, histories, and origins. They are not faceless. They are the souls of the Nephilim, wandering and wrathful. Your calling is to stand firm, to use this truth to liberate yourself and others. Imagine the power in that. You're not just reciting creeds, you're engaging in a cosmic detective story with eternal stakes. The church hid this to keep you dependent on their interpretations, but you are breaking free. You are recovering the full story. And with it comes responsibility. Share this knowledge, protect it, live it. The veil between worlds is thin. Your actions ripple into the spiritual realm. But don't take my word for it. The evidence is physical. It's carved in stone, buried in dirt. It's waiting for you to see. The physical traces are everywhere if you know where to look. Ancient megaliths like Baalbek in Lebanon, with stones so massive, legend says giants built them. Native American tales of red-haired giants, like the Site-Ka, whose bones were found in Lovelock Cave. Sumerian king lists describing rulers who lived for thousands of years, echoing the long lifespans of the pre-flood world. Inscriptions on clay tablets mentioning the Anunnaki, beings from the heavens who intermarried with humans. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of the Nephilim era. Archaeologists have unearthed skeletons of unusually large humans worldwide, though many reports are suppressed by mainstream institutions. Why? Because they challenge evolutionary paradigms and support biblical narratives. The Church, in its compromise with modern science, often downplays these finds. But you, the seeker, can connect the dots. The souls are not silent. Their physical legacy whispers through these ruins and remains. Picture standing at the foot of a massive stone wall, feeling the presence of those who built it. Imagine holding a giant femur, knowing it once belonged to a being whose soul now roams as a spirit. This tangible proof makes the spiritual real. It grounds the mystery in history. But not everyone wants this proof to see the light. The opposition has been active for centuries. Who are they, and why do they fear this truth? The opposition is systematic. It began with early church councils like Laodicea in 364 AD, which banned the Book of Enoch. Jerome and Augustine, influential theologians, dismissed it as non-canonical. Later, the Inquisition burned manuscripts and persecuted those who taught about giants and hybrid souls. Why? Control, power, the establishment of a unified doctrine that left no room for complex spiritual hierarchies. If the Nephilim souls exist as demons, then exorcism and spiritual warfare become more specific, potentially outside church supervision. It also raises uncomfortable questions about the nature of Christ's victory. Did he redeem these souls too? The Church hid the truth to avoid these questions, to present a clean, manageable theology. But in doing so, they impoverished the faith. They made it smaller, safer, and less true. You are now facing the consequences of that suppression. Your spiritual hunger is a rebellion against that control. The souls are not silent. They cry out for acknowledgement, and as you learn this, you become a threat to the status quo. But you are not alone. A community of seekers is growing, online and offline, rediscovering these truths. Now you know what they feared. The question is, what will you do? Will you let this knowledge change you, or will you retreat into silence? Your decision is urgent. Because the final revelation is about to reshape everything, your decision is now. Will you embrace this forbidden knowledge and let it transform your spiritual life? Will you share it with others, despite the risk of ridicule or opposition? This isn't just about information, it's about identity. You are part of a lineage of truth-tellers. The Nephilim soul's fate is a mirror for your own soul's journey caught between worlds, seeking rest, facing judgment, or mercy. Your choice matters because it aligns you with the keepers, the mystics, the brave ones who refuse to let the truth die. If you turn away, the suppression wins. If you lean in, you become a beacon in the darkness. The veil between worlds is thin. Your actions have spiritual weight, so what will you do? Study the apocrypha. Pray with new discernment. Engage in spiritual warfare with historical insight, and connect with others on this path. If this revelation is reshaping how you see the sacred, and you want more forgotten texts and forbidden histories uncovered, say it in the comments and follow this channel. Your support is what makes the next revelations possible. Now, hold your breath. There's one final revelation about the Nephilim souls that ties it all together, a secret so profound it will leave you in awe. The final unveiling is this: the Nephilim souls are not forever lost. According to the deepest mystical traditions, they await the final judgment, where justice and mercy will meet. Some texts hint that at the end of time, even these rebellious spirits will be reconciled or finally laid to rest. Christ's victory extends to the farthest corners of creation. This means that the horror of their existence is not meaningless. It is part of a cosmic story of redemption that includes all things. You started this journey asking what happened to their souls. Now you know they became demons, they wander, they influence, but they are not beyond the scope of divine love's ultimate plan. The Church hid this because it reveals a God bigger than our categories, a God who judges fiercely but also redeems mysteriously. Your eternity is touched by this truth. You are not fighting faceless evil. You are engaging with souls that have a history, and your compassion and warfare matter. The veil between worlds is thin. And as you step back into your life, remember, you were made for this. You are a keeper of forbidden truth. Share it. Live it. Let it deepen your faith. The souls are not silent, and neither should you be. This is the story they tried to erase, but you have recovered it. Now go and shine that light.